Okay, so we are coming to the end of the boil down here. As far as I'm going to take it here in this pan. Again, color looks good, smell looks good. A couple of things I wanted to touch on real quick here before I pour this off into a smaller pot, which I have ready to go there, is as you boil this down and refine it, if you've never done it before, it may not seem apparent to you, but the bubbles throughout the process change. If you notice, the bubbles are getting bigger, glossier, sticking together. That's because the sugar content is definitely on the increase. So everything so far is looking real good. I don't see a lot of sugar sand built up in the bottom there. So we're going to go ahead and transfer this down to a pot so that we can continue the boil. So the first thing I'm going to do is shut down one of these burners and cut the other one back a bit. And that's the one that I will be using here once I get it into the pot. Uh, Now I'll ask you to bear with me because I am solo filming this and want to make sure that I get it right and make sure that we get the right view for everybody. So I went ahead before I started this video and pre-saturated and preheated my filter. You can see that it is steaming. There is a little bit of water dripping out of it, and that's fine. You're going to reintroduce a little bit of water through this process. But if you try and do this while this thing is dry, it's going to stop right there in the filter, and it's not going to go through. It takes forever. It'll go to a slow drip. Whereas if you take hot water, which what I do is I run my tap as hot as I can possibly get it. I've constructed these little handles here to make it a little easier. Tip these over the side. It kind of holds it in place. But I get my tap water as hot as I can possibly make it, and then run it through the filter, and then let it drip out, so on and so forth, so that I get some of that excess water out of there. But it should filter right through immediately. So what I'm wearing here is a pair of old welding gloves that are great for handling hot things such as these bricks. I'm sure they are smoking hot at this point, so I don't really want to find out without gloves. But if you'll remember in my earlier video, I talked about the rim where that water level or that sap level, as it drops, it leaves a deposit around. That has certainly happened here. And so what I do is I look for the corner that is cleanest in all of these to do my pour through, so I don't capture a lot of that nastiness back into it. Plus, it's going into the filter, and that will take care of a good bit of it. So, safety first. Make sure you get a good heavy-duty pair of gloves on. And here we go. We're going to pour right through this filter here. And you can see the viscosity of it is still basically water. It hasn't even really started to thicken back up yet, and it won't for a little while. So I'm going to get all that in there. Most of it has already gone through the filter. The only reason it hasn't all gone through is simply because it's suspended in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handles here that I've constructed. I'm going to lift that up and let the rest of that run through. And once I get this pot set back up on the burner there, which I better use two hands. That's the smart way to do it. So I'm just going to set this aside for a second here. And then I'm going to lift this back up, get it over that. And now I'm going to keep a really close eye on it because they tend to boil over. I may have to adjust it down a little bit further here, though I don't know how much adjustment I have in it. There we go. That should bring it to a nice, decent boil. We'll see here in a second. I may have to turn it back up. But nonetheless, we've got all of our sap and syrup run through our filter. There is nothing in there. I let a little bit drip out. If I'm planning on doing a second filtering, I may squeeze this out to get a little bit more sap and syrup into the pan. But I try and avoid that because I may be putting some of those impurities back in there, and it's very, very hot. So you don't really want to scorch your hand while you're doing this. So get rid of these handles here quick. Get rid of one of them anyway. And let's get a look at what the inside that filter looks like after you've put it through there. So, you may not see that as you're you know boiling down in your primary pan there, but there it is. I mean, proof positive. There's a lot of impurities in there, and these uh, these fabric filters do a phenomenal job of taking most of that out. So now you can see we've got it condensed down here, and that's our final volume from the 9 gallons we started with. I would say that's probably around a gallon, maybe a little bit less. And we're going to keep going until the temperature um, gets up to about 219 degrees. I wanted to do it this time in a or a stainless steel pot so that you can get a better look at what's going on in there. I'll work on improving the lighting before I film too much more of this. Next thing is going to be gathering thermometers to monitor the temperature and things of that nature. But there we go, successful pour off into of our concentrate into a smaller pot where we can now more easily manage it and monitor the temperature and get it to where we want it before we jar it up. So that's our update. I'll check in soon.